believe it is our mission to protect and care for people and their environment every day. Pioneering future-focused cleaning and hygiene solutions. Trust the experts to select the best hygiene technology matching your site's challenges and your sustainability vision. Diversey, your global partner for responsible hygiene solutions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Season 4 of the Diversey BW Hotelier GM show. Another show of the day, the second one. Let me tell you, this season comes at a defining point and moment for Indian hospitality, where growth, demand, and guest expectations are simultaneously reshaping how hotels operate across every segment. The theme for the season this year is India at the hospitality inflection point, redefining excellence across every stage segment. And the theme for this episode is the business traveler has returned, but not as the same guest we once knew. It's all changed. It's so dynamic. We've all evolved. COVID did something to us that we didn't imagine. We started thinking differently. Think of it. We're doing a GM show, which we would have otherwise done in person, physically on ground. Virtual is the new way forward. And the travelers have changed. The domestic demand has seen an upsurge, which we never expected. First, they filled up for the lack of inbound because inbound travelers weren't happening. Now look at this. Speed, personalization, flexibility, and well-being now sit alongside efficiency and value as decisive factors in corporate travel choices. Today, to moderate this important discussion, I'm delighted to welcome my dear friend Vikram Beri, who's the Senior Regional Director, Central and East India for Radisson. Welcome to the show, Vikram.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Vikram. Vikram, India's business travel ecosystem has returned with renewed momentum, but expectations, behavior, and decision drivers have fundamentally evolved. For instance, today's corporate traveler seeks efficiency, flexibility, wellness, and meaningful experiences beyond the traditional business stay. And that is why the topic that we've selected for today, the business traveler, has returned, but not as much as not as the same guest we once knew. So let me get rolling and hand over the session to you. But before I do that, Vikram, tell me if I can ask you one question.
Sure.
So tell me, Vikram, from the perch that you sit on as the regional head, from a regional leadership perspective across multiple markets, are corporates today choosing hotels differently, or are hotels finally understanding corporate travelers better? Remember, there are choices. There are choices that the hotels don't have, but there are choices that the guest does.
No, I mean, at the onset, thanks, Bhuvanesh. Thank you so much for having me here today. And, from what you started and what you
Vikram,
said.
I've forgotten one bit. Let me bring in the general managers first.
I think that'll be a good idea. It'll be a good idea.
So first in is the lady of the show, Sita Lekshmi, who's the general manager for the Renaissance Bangalore Racecourse Hotel. Welcome to the show, Sita.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna. Always a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy you're here on the show, Sita. Thank you for being there. Abhishekh couldn't make it the first time, but today he's there. Abhishekh Menon, who's the general manager of the ITC Kakatiya, Hyderabad, which has been my home for, I know, over 100 times. Welcome to the show, Abhishekh.
Thank you so much, and namaste, everyone.
Thank you. Next in is somebody who's been with me 3 times, Anuraag Raha, from across locations, wherever he has been. Today, he's the general manager of the Holiday Inn, Kolkata Airport. Welcome to the show, Dada.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna. It's a pleasure to be back with you on this show.
Such a pleasure. Next in is Harkaran Singh, who's the General Manager of the Hilton Gurugram Baani City Center. Welcome to the show, Harkaran.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Last but not the least, Wajeed Bagwan, who's the General Manager of the Marriott Executive Apartments in UB City, Bangalore. Welcome to the show, Wajeed.
Thank you. Namaste, everyone. And thank you for having me on the show.
Such a pleasure. So back to you, Vikram.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh. Thank you so much. And yes, like you said in the beginning, being my senior, I always do look up to you as well. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. And like always, it's such a pleasure to be able to moderate such a fantastic panel. Bhuvanesh, to your question, actually, to start with, you're very right. You know, today the traveler has changed. Business travel today is less transactional and far more intentional. Corporate guests are traveling smarter, staying differently, and expecting hotels to anticipate their needs as against just responding to a request, which pretty much was the scenario earlier. But before we dwell into this entire situation, let's hear from our distinguished general managers who are leading this transition across the country today. And let's have the lady in the house open the discussion on this particular session. That how do you think today...
Cleverly, he has grabbed the show from me without letting me hand over the baton. And he calls me senior और ये पंगे ले रहा है senior से.
Sir,
So
इसमें भी कभी-कभी
Vikram was
मजा
my
आता है.
junior from school. All right, over to you, Vikram, your show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So let's hear from the lady. How does she think that this transition is being led across the country? Sita?
Okay, so it's about, I believe that question is about how the corporate travelers' expectations have changed, especially when it comes to proactively anticipating their needs. And I believe that proactive service has always been in the DNA of Indian hospitality. And over the past few years, guest expectations haven't changed in dramatic ways, but there have been subtle shifts which are very important. I believe that the current traveler is expecting experiences that are more efficient, more personalized, and more adaptable to the way they work and travel now. And I would like to think that there are 4 major areas where this shift is particularly noticeable. One is time efficiency, because today's corporate traveler is always on a tight schedule, sometimes arriving really late in the night, leaving early in the morning. Because of this, they value experiences that are really quick and efficient. Waiting in long queues or going through complex processes to check in is not something they are looking forward to. So many now expect digital check-ins, mobile check-in, express checkout, quick billing. Most of them don't even ask for bill at checkout. They would expect it to be mailed to them. Use of digital channels have increased a lot more. Even simple touches like grab and go breakfast or a coffee to go makes a big difference in the corporate travelers' agenda. The second shift is a personal recognition, but that is something that has been there for decades. People love it when they are recognized, when their preferences are remembered. Loyalty has come back in a big way ever since COVID as well. So people appreciate being recognized, and that contributes to a more meaningful experience for the guests. One most important thing that has evolved in the last 5-6 years that I noticed is hybrid workspaces. The way people work has changed significantly. Many people don't even consider their room as just a place to sleep or have a comfortable stay. They think of it as a temporary office, and this means that reliable high-speed internet, good lighting, comfortable chairs, quiet environments, these have become very essential. That's very important for the traveler. And finally, I think there is this importance of experience consistency, service consistency. This is very important for a traveler who's traveling frequently, and they appreciate knowing what to expect. And when service standards, room quality remain consistent, it builds trust and confidence in every brand that they use. So consistency reduces stress for travelers, and it allows them to focus on their work rather than worrying about what to expect in the accommodation experience. So in essence, I think corporate guests today are looking for hotels which anticipate their needs rather than wait for them to ask.
That's really interesting, and it's very nice to hear that. One of the points you did pick up over there was personal recognition. So Abhishek, this one goes out to you really. In today's time and age, what does loyalty mean today for the modern business traveler beyond points and just program?
So firstly, thank you, Mr. Berry, and thank you, Mr. Khanna. I must confess, if I had to choose a topic, I would choose loyalty because that's something that's been the core of my existence at ITC Hotels, for that matter, hotels itself. My core is rooms, and I think loyalty plays a very, very integral part in this life cycle of a guest, whether it's rooms, whether it's F&B, whether it's anything else. So, like I said, I started about 2 decades back where we heard about something or read about something called the Whitney rack system, right? Post that, we moved into the PMSs. Then now we're talking about keyless mobile check-ins. And it's anybody's guess what AI will get to the fore when it comes to customer interaction and customer experiences. But I think the one thing that's been constant and that will live the test of time going forward as well is how do you make a customer feel, right? Whether it's the millennial, whether it's the Gen Z, Gen X, whoever it is, everyone wants to feel important. And I think that's where loyalty will come to the fore. I again believe that loyalty is something, the word loyalty is something that's misused a lot in our industry. For me, loyalty would definitely mean customization, personalization, because two guests are not the same. We use a wider term for points, upgrades. I think all hotel chains, all leading brands do all of that. But for me, loyalty is something that's very mutual. It's something that takes me back to when I was growing up and my parents would take me to my favorite restaurant. Why would I go there? And that restaurant necessarily did not mean a five-star hotel restaurant. But even today, when I go back there, there's a sense of belonging. There's a sense of calling. There's a sense of calm. And you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get on the plate. So I think that's customization. That for me is loyalty. No matter where I dine in the world, when I go back home to my roots, I will go back to that restaurant because I always was made to feel important. And I think for me, that is what loyalty is all about. It's easier said than done. And like I said, the best thing is to have a base, the upgrade, the amenity, the loyalty points. All that is the cherry on the cake. But the cake equal to loyalty is basically personalizing and customizing every experience. And I think that's not going to change in our business. And for all industry partners here and otherwise, I think we need to protect that with our lives, because otherwise there's going to be a lot of chaos with AI and things like that. These are big words, better off in the IT business. But for hotels, I think loyalty means personalization, customization, sense of belonging. 2 decades back, when we were lobby managers and when we started off, we thought, for want of a better word, there was a harrowing experience if a guest didn't get the loyalty points. But today, there's much more than that. I think, like I said, a lot of my colleagues on the call will kind of accept that at a drop of a hat, a customer always says, I'm platinum, I'm titanium, right? I'm sure we all experience that. And I think that's identity. So loyalty also equals identity. As a guest, as a customer, when I'm checking in, I'm entitled to say that I'm platinum, I'm titanium. And we must give that guest the due. Ideally, as hoteliers, we'd all like everyone to be titanium and platinum because that means repeat business. But yeah, I think a little bit more, if you dwell into it, for me, loyalty is not about points. It's about a sense of belonging. So I think I'll rest my case in that.
I like the way you put it, Abhishek. Thanks. And you very rightly said we are all in it for grabbing that loyal customer back into the business. But with, like Bhuvanesh opened the session saying that, the traveler's changing, the traveler's evolving as we speak. Today we are also seeing a lot of...
Vikram, what I love is the last two responses have been just star-worthy. Fantastic responses. And I think you gave Abhishek the ball right in his areas. So he could pick it out of the
Easy.
crowd.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Sita wonderfully put.
No, very right. And Abhishek, like you said, it is very critical to the existence of the entire industry. And these words coming from you do make it sound even more reassuring. But like I said in the initial bit also, with the changing customers, also the landscape of the hotels, they're changing. And Anuraag, this one is really something that I'd like to throw at you is that today airport and transit hotels play a very large and strategic role. How do you think this segment has evolved operationally from where it was to where it is today?
Case in point, AeroCity.
Absolutely. Many aerocities coming up in the country now.
True.
All right, great question, Mr. Berry and Mr. Khanna. Thank you for being a part of this. Okay. Now the thing is that, see, I just want to share some simple information data. Since 2014, from 74 airports, it has gone to 163 airports in 2025. So this is a huge number which I've come across, and you can understand the number of hotels building up and building up across this kind of hubs which are going to come up. I think this hotels are going to be the transit hotels, the airport hotels which are not going to be transit hubs anymore. It's going to be rather than to be a productive hubs, where I can say that, right? Where I can see there are a lot of changes in airport hotels, like the efficiency is the short-term efficiency of the stay, then the turnaround speed of the housekeeping has gone up, the check-in process and the time has gone up, then the dynamic pricing has taken up, is a U-turn completely. Okay, then the mix from the corporate to crew to the corporate mix have come up, where nowadays, if you see in Bombay, there are a lot of hotels which are coming up across, like Fairmont has recently come up in Bombay, which has had a huge segment of banqueting and all. A lot of hotels we have MICE moment which are coming up with the nearby airport hotels, which actually helps in getting the time saving business for the business travelers as for the leisure travelers also, because it helps to save the congestion period actually. Like in the check-in efficiency, there are like from 45 minutes to 60 minutes was a turnaround time. It has dropped down to basically 20 to 30 minutes turnaround time in housekeeping. Then of course you have keyless check-ins which are there. So there are a lot of things which have been incorporated in the various kinds of hotels in and across the airport hotels, which have turned around the time completely. So time management, I feel time management is a very important factor for the airport hotels to check to build up the efficiency completely.
Thanks, Anuraag. And it's nice to hear this coming from you, especially from a city which is really seeing a sudden splurge in a certain part of the country around you as well, in terms of building efficiencies around airports, so to speak. But with that, I'm going to ask somebody on this panel who's also not just an ex-colleague, but also somebody who's right in the heart of the business district today. Harkaran, this one's coming for you. How are corporate travelers influencing hotel operations differently today compared to the pre-pandemic years? Because like Bhuvanesh said, we've seen the traveler change, we've seen the markets changed. We've all experienced the kind of expectations and guest requirements evolve over the years. So Harkaran, would love to know from you, sitting in the heart of the business district, where do you think, what are those changes that you are observing?
Thank you, Vikram. Once again, I'm still waiting for you to come to the hotel. It's been 16 months, but that's for the later. Bhuvanesh, always a pleasure. Thank you for having all of us here. I think a great panel and a lot of some beautiful inputs. So I think the corporate travel managers, right? I think they are a very crucial part of our city hotel businesses. Initial pre-pandemic, I would say their role was more of negotiation and volume allocation in the hotels, which eventually has transformed into a much more strategic and more operational influence to the city-centric hotels, right? For example, now they're involved more on the dynamic pricing models, to the technology, to the guest experience, to the comfort level, to sustainability, technology adaptation. I think all of these those key words which we've been hearing have become the reality in today's time, right? Today, I think the technology is playing a huge role, and they are choosing hotel which are more seamless, right from your mobile room keys to your contactless check-ins to your e-billing to e-invoicing, wherever there is enough and more time which is spent on a seamless experience rather than going through that regular queue on a front office and waiting for the time to check in. Um, Moving on to the experience part of it, sustainability, the food and beverage is becoming a huge crucial part of the travel managers deciding where they would like to put in their guest, the kind of offerings, the wellness regimes in the hotel, how the kind of spa in the gym, the kind of wellness facilities you have in the hotels becomes an integral part of deciding where they would really want to put their guests up. I think also the location, the proximity to those business parks, to those IT hubs, to the offices, and reducing those carbon footprints and making sure that the travel time is saved to enhance the overall productivity. Uh, I think all of this has become an integral part for a corporate travel manager to decide where they really want to put in their guests. So I think that's a short and crisp answer. To summarize, that their role now is just not about filling up hotels or just sticking to one hotel and saying that this is the hotel for the year. But I think the kind of options the industry has and the city has, it's really about going to those nuanced, bespoke experiences where their guests can really feel belonged and really don't have to hassle and worry about the policies and keep changing, which keeps changing now and then, right? I think consistent experience is something which they're looking at, and that's where we are to provide them with those kind of experiences. So thank you.
No, that's interesting. That's very, very fairly said, especially coming from you, who's sitting right in the hub of the business district. And we've all seen the tier one cities evolve, grow, and change. But what is even more exciting, especially for someone like me who works for an organization like the Radisson Hotel Group, who is spearheading the market in tier two, tier three reactions. Wajeed, I'd love to know from you, specifically as well, in tier two and emerging business cities, what are the new demand patterns that are redefining the corporate hospitality today? Because, there's a whole new market, there's a whole new travel trend, there are business hubs, there are more tier two, tier three cities that are emerging as power centers, really, so to speak, in terms of development. So what is your take on this one?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for the question. Yes, as I've heard everyone, the return of a business traveler is one of the most encouraging signals for the hospitality industry. Yet, as mentioned by previously by Harkaran also, the corporate traveler who's entering now is much different than what we served previously during the pandemic time. Post-pandemic, of course, each and every corporate traveler, business traveler has different expectations. Their expectations have evolved, priorities have shifted, and the definition of the business travel is, of course, expanded. For brands like us, which is basically the extended stay apartment, we have the luxury extended stay apartment in the heart of the city in the CBD area. This shift presents a very challenging and a tremendous opportunity for us. Today's business traveler is no more the person who just wants a room for a night. They're basically seeking for a place to live, work, recharge. Their trips are getting much longer, their schedules are becoming more flexible, and the line between the professional and the personal life is increasingly blurred. So, what they opt for is basically more of comfort, privacy, wellness, and the ability to maintain daily routines, which are just as important as for the efficiency and the location of the place. So, this is where we, as a luxury extended stay apartment, come in and are incredibly relevant to this requirement. Our business travelers, today's business travelers value for space to work comfortably. They want the convenience of a kitchen, and they want to have the feeling of the home, even when they're outside their home. So that's where we come into the picture, offering the various offerings to a guest, a lot of space, a lot of comfort space, a good kitchenette, a good fully equipped kitchenette for them, and of course this helps them when they are traveling on a large assignment or a privilege a project which is for a longer period. It helps them to be more personalized in their approach in terms of having their own food cooked. People who are corporate, especially from different regions like China, Japan, and all. It makes it very easier for them to take care of their own special needs. So what once considered an offering, is now becoming a preferred choice with many corporate travelers. Earlier, this was never ever there, and this is one of the most preferred choice by many, many, many people. So, as what I would like to say is just emphasize on giving the space to the people, making them feel at home, and of course, giving them an experience of more comfort in an extended stay apartment. And brand, obviously, the corporate traveler prefers brands like Marriott, who are more into this and more refined into the approach of making the stay much more comfortable.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Nice to hear that point of view as well, to really see that shift across the spectrum in the cities as well as the tier 2, tier 3 cities, where there's a shift from rate-led to value-led.
We are now at the halfway point, but with your permission, if I can toss one at Wajeed.
Please.
Wajeed, tell me, your apartments are long stay apartments, right? Staycations and long stay apartments.
Correct.
Do you have any bench rules of we will only give it for so many days?
No, we don't have such bench rules. Our apartments are basically, suites, you can, refer it to as, are well available for short stays as well as long stays.
Short stays are how much for a night?
Minimum length of stay for a long stay is considered to be 15 days and above. 15 days to 30 days to 6 months to 1 year.
Tell me, number two, if there is an urge to fill up when the occupancy is slightly lower, do you compromise from your principles of long stay to go the hotel way?
Now, as for our property, as it's a dynamic mix, we also have transient rooms. We have transient rooms which are normal rooms for business travelers and for short stays. So we fill them up first, and of course we upgrade them to a studio, okay, and preferably to our loyalist like the platinum or the ambassador suite. We give them an upgrade to a suite, which is a 1-bedroom apartment.
All right, super. So next time when I'm there, I'm going to see your place and I'm going to visit.
You must.
And I'm going to visit Sita. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Please do come.
Most welcome.
I am coming. I'm coming there. I have to. In fact, you will not believe I was telling my colleagues yesterday we have to go there.
Yes.
Super. All right, great. So Vikram, with your permission, can I take a 30-second break and then come back to you again?
Sure. Let's take that break. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
At Diversey, we believe it is our mission to protect and care for people and their environment every day. Pioneering future-focused cleaning and hygiene solutions. Trust the experts to select the best hygiene technology matching your site's challenges and your sustainability vision. Diversey, your global partner for responsible hygiene solutions.
All right. So we are back. These are small commercial breaks that we need to take to thank Diversey. Something about Diversey, the more we can say will be lesser, because they have really put their hand to get this show going 4 seasons on. And it takes a lot. They're investing. All right. So thank you, Diversey. And we're all indebted to your support. Now that Vikram, we've had a fantastic first round. All these general managers over here, they're not just articulate. They're thinking entrepreneurs. And they've done it all. I remember Sita from her old last hotel. It was the Aloft on the Outer Ring Road.
Yes.
To where she is now. And Harkaran from Mumbai, from Andheri, right? To where he is now.
Yes.
Of course, Anuraag, I've seen over the years from one place to the other. And he's there. Abhishekh, I don't know where you were before this, nor do I know where Wajeed was. But yeah. So
I was in Dubai.
Were you in Dubai? All right. And Abhishekh?
I was all over the place. I think about 8 destinations in the last 2
In
decades.
my context, that term was used by my late parents from me when I was in school. You were all over the place.
All over the place.
Right. So, yeah, okay, great. So let me come back, Vikram, to you. Vikram, as we look ahead, do you believe the definition of business hotel itself is undergoing a permanent reset in India? Because a business hotel will be a business hotel from Monday to Friday, and then it'll turn into a fun jamboree over the weekend, which is true for all the hotels, be it Sita's hotel or Abhishek's hotel. They're all in crisp business districts, if I was to use that term, or Anuraag's. Tell me.
No, very right. There is a blurring of business and lifestyle segments overall. I mean, there's that little overlap which was earlier very segregated, but now it's quite falling one on top of the other. And flexible space utilization, I think, is becoming the mantra going forward because it needs to be easily adaptable to the requirement that the traveler today wants. People are looking at wellness and productivity pretty much at the same point, so that convergence is important. There's a lot of technology that has stepped in also from a guest experience, guest comfort, and also from a guest integration perspective. The ease of being able to maneuver through one's stay. And of course, not to forget the design element, the futuristic element of design, and keeping in mind the service modules, which are actually addressing what is the need of the hour as against being a little excessive or over the top. So I think you're very right. There is the definition change evolves with the traveler evolves, so to speak.
And also we're amiable. We can transform. We can do different things. And then also look at these times now, like Wajeed or who was saying, thanks to Mr. Trump, whatever he's done, it's all going to become even more dynamic. First, COVID did it. What COVID could not do, we've come back and tried it in 2026. Jesus Christ, it's scary.
It is. And with that evolving geopolitical scenario, I think all of us are sitting on the edge to just make sure it all kind of settles.
Vikram and all of you here, I'm not worried.
It's not.
India has done itself great favor by heading the way we have headed. If inbound was not happening, no problem. Our domestic was a kicker.
Absolutely right.
Completely agree.
Yeah. All right. Back to you, Vikram. The show is yours.
Thank you. So I'll start with the lady of the house once again. Sita, we've been talking about the changing customer. We've been talking about the change of demand, the request, the kind of clientele that we are now servicing. So how are hotels redesigning guest rooms in public spaces really to support all this change and also keep in line with productivity and comfort?
First of all, thank you for asking me this question because I absolutely love this question because my hotel is currently going through a reimagination, as I would like to call it. This is something we are thinking about quite actively every day.
Good timing then. Good timing.
Yes, absolutely. So
Not
if you
just good timing, it's also good planning.
Yes, absolutely. So if you visited this hotel before, now we have an absolutely brand new lobby and the bar, we have brought it forward to the lobby. Right now we have a lobby bar and we've designed a new alfresco area where guests can wine and dine. So, but the process is still not over. We are in the process of reimagining the space because we also do realize that the guests are not just looking for comfort or relaxation when they stay. They are also mostly looking for combining work and leisure. So they need environments where they can stay productive. And I see that because of this, hotels are increasingly designing spaces that brings this balance. And for a brand like Renaissance, for example, which is very much rooted in the spirit of its neighborhood, it's one of our core values, the design always takes inspiration from the surroundings. At the same time, we're very conscious of creating spaces that is very efficient. And one of the bigger changes we are seeing in the evolution of in-room workspace. In the past, we would think that the room working desk, in the design, it would look like an afterthought, at least for some hotels. But right now, they are becoming more of an intentional feature. Hotels are introducing larger desks, more comfortable chairs, improved lighting, easy accessible to USB ports and charging stations, etc. because technology integration has become very important too. Like I said earlier in my previous answer, I can't begin to emphasize on the importance of reliable high-speed Wi-Fi. People do take video calls and deliver presentations from their room. A lot of my guests, I notice that they work from the room itself. They prefer to work remotely without interruption. So we see that we also rethink public spaces in connection to this because sometimes they're working from the room for a couple of hours and they want to go to a lounge or a cafe, grab a coffee, and treat it like a flexible workspace where they can have a seat on a communal table or a quiet corner where they can take a call or work quietly. And finally, there is this emphasis that is given on wellness. Productivity today is closely connected with physical and mental well-being, particularly for frequent travelers who are dealing with long flights, different hotels probably every day. And hotels are now imagining the spaces that help guests recharge through natural light, or it could be great fitness facilities, better air quality, and relaxation areas in the hotel. Now, the goal is to ensure that the guests stay productive while also taking care of their well being. So, ultimately, I'll say that the modern hotel design is all about creating environments that are very efficient yet very relaxing to look at and to enjoy. So, I think thoughtfully designed spaces are the new big thing that is coming up.
How well said.
I look forward to seeing all of this that you just put forward also at the Renaissance. But you know,
Come visit the hotel.
but also what comes is like as hoteliers, we all want to obviously give the best and have all the values. But Abhishek, this one's coming your way. How do you think GMs balance rate integrity with increasing corporate negotiation pressures? Because you know everything comes at a cost, but the corporate has its own mandates as well. So, love to know your thoughts on that bit.
Yeah, again, thank you for a fairly simple question because my last piece was on loyalty, and I do realize that that was something very core to me. I think the exact opposite of loyalty or loyalty's biggest enemy is price. I'm sure we all agree. We keep telling guests that you've not been staying for the last few months, and the immediate response is that you're priced me out of your hotel. But yeah, I think in an ever evolving world, it's important that we educate ourselves and educate our guests that this is where we are. India is booming and rates are going up. To just give you a fair appreciation, the hotel that I am working in, and Mr. Khanna, this doesn't apply to you for your loyalty, but we are almost 50 to 60% up on pricing from the year gone by. And as bosses always want more, so another 20, 25, 30% more next year. And like I said, loyalty is the only thing. Yes, sir.
So this is a case of ye dil mange more.
Absolutely, absolutely.
In one of the episodes, I had Jitendra Singh talk with me.
Yeah.
Right, and I was looking at his revenues, and I had my skull falling on the roadside.
Absolutely agree. I can't keep troubling him by saying that he'll get jailed for these rates. Just to give everyone an understanding.
Do you want to tell them the rates?
It's in that range of 40,000 this year. Average rate of 40,000 for a business hotel in Hyderabad. And it is a seller's market. It's definitely not a buyer's market at this point in time. And I'm hoping the moment that transition happens, I get transferred out because life is pretty simple right now. But yeah, I'll again go back to that loyalty piece. I think price can get a customer or a guest or a client to you once. But what keeps him with you is that quality. We all know about this, that if the quality is right, the price is long forgotten. And that's where loyalty, customization, personalization all comes to the fore. Again, it's a widely misused word, but the more you connect with that customer, the more important he feels. And I think there's a lot that we need to learn from the Gen Zs when it comes to this. They have no loyalties, and it's anybody's guess whether, and it's so important that we learn from them. It's so important that we are future ready. I have an 11-year-old daughter where I learn customer behavior so much from. How she behaved last week is not how she behaved this week. So there's so much there to learn. But the more and more that you connect, the more and more that you kind of, today, I don't even think today customer calling out in the office is something that, even exists in our business. But 10 years, 20 years back, if the sales guy was not out in the market, you're telling him that you have no connect. So there's so many ways to keep ourselves engaged. But the truth is that, if everyone's making money as hoteliers, we'd also like to make money. We are in business. So I think that's a lesson that we need to very, very subtly, amicably, discuss with those corporates and tell them that we also know at the back of our head that there are times where you go on those OTAs and book the cheapest hotel. So loyalty is anybody's guess. So that's my piece on this. I think the more you give them love, the more they'll stay with you.
Yeah,
Well, that's a nice
Thank
way
you.
to say
when
it.
you're sorry, yeah, sorry, Vikram.
No, I said that's a nice way to put it. Absolutely.
Yeah. When the going is good and you're able to organize your revenues well behaved ahead of plans, just think responsibly from a guest's point of view also. What is it? Don't do what the airlines are doing, right? So what is it that we are giving back to them for the kind of money that we're charging?
I'll just close this by saying one thing that is very relevant in our lives from a week back. The Sanju Samson knock told us that, put your head down and perform. It's all about that. The runs will come. So the money will keep flowing. The ARRs will keep going up, but you need to put your head down and give quality performances. I think it's all about that.
What an amazing analysis. Brilliant. Excellent. Well put. Yeah, back to you, Vikram. Sorry, I keep butting in. You'll have to
No,
explain.
it's nice. I mean, it's always good because with this thought process, I'm going to shoot to Anuraag right now. That Anuraag, we are all trying to get that attention and get that moment in front of the guests. So, what role do you think that food and beverage today plays in influencing a corporate guest satisfaction when he's in? So, we've got him in through the door, but a big part of this is also food and beverage.
Yeah, very great question. Good question to it. Actually, post-COVID, the corporates have come in on a with high preferences and high expectations. What I can see there post-COVID. Okay. What I feel that in text to that, the F&B comes as a primary driver in terms of guest satisfaction and loyalty to get the repeat clients based on the corporates, especially the corporate segment, where the guest expectations and the corporate expectations are basically have changed drastically post-COVID, which is lighter meals, low oil preparations, high protein breakfasts. That's the major meal preferences which I normally ask for. Of course, on the late hours when you have to be very flexible on your approach timings and the dining timings, which is you have extended restaurant hours, you have to do late night, limited menus, you need to plan it across because normally these days our flights are basically either early morning flights or late departure flights in the evening, which normally intend to you land up very late in the evening hours. Or you get second is the faster in-room service delivery because once you are back from the hectic day after a bash from your bosses or probably or from your customers, you need to have a faster in-room dining with a glass of with a glass and ice. You need it immediately. Yeah, and then at the morning hours, you need to grab and go quickly a cold breakfast because you have early morning flights to catch up. Of course, if you are in the breakfast, you are late, so then you have to go and grab, sir. आज तो लेट हो गया, quickly कुछ है क्या? भेजो जल्दी से. You have to like smoothies. You need to have barista coffee, and of course these days Gen Zs and Alphas have a trend of doing not a hangover party. They are doing a party of basically coffee break parties, which are going on, which is trending actually these days. Early morning parties, which is going on, and of course these are corporates are joining in all these things.
I for instance came very late the other day, and I found huge bunch of youngsters at about 4 or 5, and I was on a flight. So I thought something has happened. There's a break-in or something, and these kids are all there. No, they had a party out on the road.
At 4.
At 4.
Wow.
And this was so Zomato was delivering, everybody was delivering, and that was their house, but it was outside. So how we've yet to know this animal.
True that. I think it's so important for us to actually crack that bit also. And it's incredible that you said this, because from here I'm going to actually pick up to my next point, Harkaran, and this probably would come to you. But before I move on, thanks so much, Anuraag, for that bit and sharing your bit of an anecdote. But what also happens in today's time and age is we have travelers who are constantly on the road, moving, experiencing different things. So, Harkaran, really, how important do you think is consistency across multiple stays and cities for today's traveling executive? Because that also becomes a huge decision making factor.
Well, this question takes me back to my old avatar, Vikram. You're still in that avatar, but um, and I can tell you, I think the corporate travelers hate surprises. I don't think anyone who's traveling, I can tell you, and in my last role when I was traveling almost 20, 20 to 25 days a month for a good 3 years, and there was a time when my wife called me and said that here, my 4-year-old is going to start calling you uncle, because you end up becoming a visiting father. That's another pressure, and then you have a pressure of visiting 10 different hotels in a month, and then try to learn कि अब इसका master switch कहाँ है, and then how the AC is going to get operated, or how what is the policies of the executive lounge, or amenities or rules, check in, check out. So I think the standardization is highly important. Somebody who's traveling 20 nights a month spending in a hotel, I think the uh, predictability and reliability reduces the travel fatigue and increases the productivity. I think that's
Raj Menon.
yeah. Sorry, after you.
Ask Raj Menon. I mean, see the way
Yeah.
he travels.
He travels.
I think
Unbelievable.
so we need to. So I think the brand standards in hotels play a huge role. I
True.
think it is always good to set expectations. It brings in a great level of loyalty. It gives you a higher chance of repeat business. It set the standards and it sets the benchmarks that people can expect every time they're walking in from a one Hilton to another. They understand that this is going to be the tonality, this is going to be the executive lounge hours, these are the check-in check-out timings, this is how the room is going to look like. This is where the room orientation majorly is going to be around the similar specifications of one hotel to another. I think all of that, I think this is even more important than a price and a location, because the standardization and synergy in the processes and SOPs and brand standards just makes them feel more secure and makes them feel belonged. And that brings in much more impact on a business traveler when they're choosing a brand or a hotel to stay. So that's my take on it. Yeah.
Nice, very interesting. While we are talking about standardization and bringing in that consistency, Wajeed, this one I'm going to aim at you. You're located in Bangalore's premium UB City district, and your property hosts senior executives, investors, global business leaders. So while there is a certain level of consistency, I would love to know from you, and I'm sure all of us would, how do you extended stay hotels adapt their service philosophy to the needs of these high-profile long-stay guests? Because while we do manage to do consistency, the guest profile is very different. So
Yes,
how
absolutely.
does that really work in your space?
No, I understand. Thank you so much. Yes, our property does certainly host senior executives, global leaders, and of course dignitaries from the consulates, and most of them are expats. So here it's equally important is the experience beyond the rooms they get. The travelers now seek an authentic local connection, meaningful service interactions, and the environments that support their productivity as well as good well-being in the place to be offering as an offering for them, which rightly was mentioned by Sita as well. So in such a case where we have done is we've introduced a nice Madras kitchen which offers the local cuisine from the southern peninsula. And our property is located inside a mall, which also offers the luxury shopping, experience with the various global brands. So that also is a very good experience as well. And of course, besides all this, the travelers definitely expect seamless digital engagement, personalized service. We have different kinds of service offerings to our guests. Like for an expat, we do have offerings for chef service on demand. We also have, as an escort, we give the guest, residence attendant for all his daily chores. So all these are experiences which we have, initiated for a guest, and we are doing pretty well. We're getting good scores on that. So this is also assuring our the faith of the guest in trusted global standards, where people go out of the way to serve and give them the best. For us, the focus must therefore shift from simply hosting a business traveler to enabling their lifestyle while on the move. Our property, Marriott Executive Apartments, our opportunity lies in delivering a true home away from home experience, a space that supports work, rest, and long stays, service that is more personal, more consistent as per the global Marriott presence all over. The business traveler may be back, but the expectations have definitely permanently evolved. The brands that succeed will recognize the transformation and design experiences that meets their needs of this new generation. So at our property, we thrive in looking at experiences being given to our guests, and we thrive at ensuring a guest never feels home away from home and is more evolved and spending the most of his time apart from his work at our place. So that's the essence I could say about taking care of our guests.
Very
Thank
nice.
you. Very well, very well. So, at this stage, what's really coming out that today's discussion clearly highlights that the returning business traveler is far more discerning. I mean, today he's time conscious, needs experiences, and has been so driven ever than before. And we heard Sita really emphasizing on anticipation over reaction. We heard Amit showcasing the rise of the blended travel experience, I must say. Abhishekh redefining loyalty. Anuraag explaining operational agility and transit hospitality. Harkaran clearly underlining the evolving corporate partnerships, and Wajeed, of course, offering the perspective of extended stay hospitality, where senior executives increasingly seek comfort alongside professional efficiencies. So, what truly emerges strongly in this is that business hospitality today is no longer about accommodation. It is about enabling performance, comfort, continuity for travelers with constantly on the move. And would love to know two thoughts from Bhuvanesh as well before I move into the more exciting part of the latter part of the discussion.
Right. So for me, the purpose of this show is not just what we've discussed. The purpose, we would be failing if this show does not deliver the objectives that, or may I say that we set out for. This industry needs talent. This industry needs idols. This industry needs heroes. There are many. They need more, right? We're actually searching for talent. The lines are dry. Our hotel development pipelines are strong, but our talent pipelines are not filling up. And this is a brilliant industry to be in. And I would want wannabe hoteliers to watch out for these stars who are on the show. They all had assets which don't come cheap, which have not been built overnight, be it brand or the property, brick and mortar, or their reputations. And they are actually brilliant skippers of the vessels that they sail on dry land. So be there. They rub shoulders with the high and mighty, with the who's and who of the political world, cricket stars or the glitterati or the Bollywood stars. I happened to be last week somewhere, and the biggest surprise in the same room was who? Robert Downey Jr. So, imagine that hotel general manager, what will happen to him? He'll fall. How many people get to meet such dignitaries? And you guys don't come cheap. I don't want to ask you what kind of packages you draw, but then you guys go laughing to the bank, and rightly so. You guys are worth much more. This industry is happening. I want people to come to this industry. This is a career which is way better than any other career. Right? Yes, you slogged it. Who hasn't? Gone are the days when people used to say, do you want to become a waiter? Yes, I want. We all started with that. Right? Do you want to be a waiter in this industry or be a waiter in another industry? So I just hope people are taking in every word that you've spoken and they feel motivated to join this industry. These are brilliant brands. Look at these brands. Marriott into two. Renaissance is a Marriott brand. Wajeed is with Marriott. ITC, Radisson, Holiday Inn IHG, Hilton. Jesus Christ. These are great brand ambassadors. So let me, before I hand it back to Vikram, well, I've had a fantastic time. Vikram has been a great host. So I put my money where the winning horse was. Thank you so much. Right?
Thank
Now,
you.
before we see you at the next show tomorrow, Vikram, do you want to take this back to conclusion?
I would actually like to sign off on a rapid format at this point of time with all these fantastic leaders on the show, where let's do it interestingly with 1 or 2 words each before you say thank you. So let's start with the lady in the house. Sita, off to you.
Sorry, is that a question or I just say?
Yeah. So Vikram, you explained.
So no, sir, please go ahead.
Sita, I have given let me give you a cue if I was to ask somebody who, what do you want to say? What are the 2 words that are important to you from your business standpoint? What would that be?
Okay. So for me, it's from the things that I've spoken. So one is definitely personalized service. And the second thing is something you just now said, Mr. Khanna. I want to tell people who are watching this or students that this is an amazing industry.
Absolutely.
Come join us. And that's the second thing I want.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Let's
so much.
hear it from you.
Abhishekh.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Thank you again. So I'd like to say that culture is how you feel on Monday morning, whether you're a guest or whether you're an associate. And my job as a general manager is to make everyone want to come back to this hotel on Monday morning. So I think that's going to be one thing. Again, like I said, I go back to that. You don't want to change how you make people feel. Just cut all the noise around. Just make people feel special. I think that's what I would like to say.
Lovely, lovely.
How do you guys sum it up? These are compacts that I would take with me. Brilliant. All right.
Going on. Anuraag.
You're muted, Anuraag. Hanji.
As Abhishekh was telling me on the loyalty front, of course, I vouch for the loyalty for the customers and for my employees. That's going to be the key role in the coming days.
Thank you. Harkaran.
I've been saying this phrase in many of the forums, and it's very close to my heart, that for me, and I think for a lot of all of us, hospitality is no more a profession. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. So I think that's this beautiful industry we are in, and we should all embrace it and appreciate and celebrate. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. That's nice way of putting it. Wajeed?
Well, last but not the least, I would always say hospitality is all about experience. The better the experience, the best of experiences are always carried forward in the mindset of the persons, of the travelers, of the guest. And that's what your business key is. So creating a memorable experience is one of the most important aspect of hospitality.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you can go to a dharamshala and live there.
Do that.
Vikram,
What a wonderful insight.
Vikram, why don't you put in your 2 words?
Sir, I think for me, fundamentally, to sum it all up and to encapsulate what you were thinking is It's a passion. Do it with love, and let that love show. Thank you, everybody.
Let me say my 2 words, right? The best of Indian hospitality has yet to come.
Yes.
All right.
Very true.
We have not even begun. If you were to look at Bali or Dubai or any of these, or Singapore or Hong Kong, see the number of hotels in compact places, right? We have not even skimmed the surface. Do you understand? It's going to go many folds over. Look at the pipelines, look at the brands that are coming. And so our best is yet to come. Let's be prepared. We should not be found wanting.
True. Very true. I
Very
second
true,
that.
Second
Yeah.
that thought completely.
Yeah. So, and before we sign off, Vikram, with your permission, you're in the chair, and with
Sure.
all my friends here, I want to thank Diversey. I want to thank BW and BW Hotelier. It's not easy pulling out these general managers from their busy schedules to even take out an hour. Thank you for being there. This is extremely valuable. And thank you, team BW and BW Hotelier. Scheduling is not an easy task. Relaying these shows and 4 a week is not easy, right? Thank you for being there. Before we sign off, Diversey, thank you with your video.
At Diversey, we believe it is our mission to protect and care for people and their environment every day. Pioneering future-focused cleaning and hygiene solutions. Trust the experts to select the best hygiene technology matching your site's challenges and your sustainability vision. Diversey, your global partner for responsible hygiene solutions.
To close the show, let me begin by thanking the lady of the show, Sita. Thank you for being there, right?
Thank you,
You
Sita.
are a
Thank you,
brilliant
Mr.
brand
Berry and Mr.
ambassador,
Khanna.
a graceful and elegant brand ambassador for this industry, right? And may God bless you. And Wajeed, I'm so happy to see you finally sip some water and pick up that date.
Thank you.
Right? Happy fasting. Thank you for being there despite your fasting. Right? Great work. Right? Abhishekh, thank you for being there. Anuraag, Harkaran, last but not the least, you are a star anchor. You're doing a good job, and go places, all of you. May God bless you.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And see you
everyone.
back soon again.
Pleasure indeed.
Yeah. Bye,
Pleasure
Harkaran.
indeed.
Bye, Sita.
Bye-bye.
Anuraag. Bye.